Jack Chivers. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you very much.
Good to have you here, man. Like, we've had some kind of little parallel lives where we've nearly intersected, but not really.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you mentioned when we first caught up, well, apparently again the other day for coffee, you said, nice to see you again, or something along those lines. I was like trying to clock. I'm like, where was that? Where was that? And you reminded me it would have been at a crossover event between circles a long way back. Hey?
Yeah. I think the word for it, which kind of felt a bit weird at the time, was like a Wolverine, and it was when the circles got together and did some big stuff together, and they used to scare the shit out of me because I just started men's work. So it was enough to do it in just our circle, but then when we went out to the other groups, I was like, fuck, all these men. So
big
exposing. Yeah.
Yep.
We might dig into that a little bit as we chat today, because that's cool. But I always want to start with a check-in. Obviously for us, but just for anyone listening, it's a reminder to just make some space and some time just to check in with yourself. So I always try and say that, as we're checking in, can anyone listening kind of just check in with themselves as well? So yeah, man, what's it like to be you physically, mentally, and emotionally right now? What's your experience?
All right. So physically, this is sort of physical and mental. I'm caffeinated for the first time in a while. So a little bit tired. Had a not too much sleep last night.
Cool.
Which is sort of why I drank the coffee today.
Nice.
So yeah, a little bit tired, but underneath that, feeling pretty grounded and beneath the nerves as well of being on a podcast. I feel like I'm able to settle into that as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can I ask you what you said? Feeling grounded. Like, what is that for you? Because I feel like it's a bit different for everyone. What is the feeling of grounded for you?
So, how to word it, man? How to word it? It's like I can feel grounded when I have something to contrast to. So to make that maybe make a bit more sense. So I have a little bit of that nervous energy in me right now. But being able to acknowledge that and hold it as not being my entire experience or being right now, and then feel into my body where there might be a bit more of a relaxed state, like down in my legs, my calves, my feet against the ground. The contrast between those two lets me say, oh yeah, there's a bit of groundedness in my experience right now as well.
Yeah, because as you say that, I get that picture in my head of like the feet on the ground, like planting in. And to me, that feels like the visual of being grounded. I have my feet on the ground.
Yep, feet on the ground, roots going down. Start talking like a yoga teacher.
There's all this language pops into us now, like being calm and grounded, and just all this different, the nervous system stuff. And I'm here for it, but I'm also here for like, what does that actually fucking mean to you?
That's would actually be a really good talking point to come back around to.
So there's a physical sense of feeling grounded. I get the vibe that there's a touch of nervousness around what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
What emotions are floating around?
It's like so I've been experiencing this like sort of teeter-tot of emotions recently. There's a little bit of like scarcity and fear. Just we'll go into the context of why maybe in a bit more detail, but to put it in a nutshell, it's like launching sort of 2 new businesses at the same time, not having a whole bunch of income coming in, blah, 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 blah. So a little bit of, but then there's also to counterbalance that, like this baseline hum of gratitude as well for everything that's supporting me right now as well, like all those supports that I have in my life, that I'm easily able to tap back into whenever the more gnarlier stories start circulating. And I can feel a little bit of both of them right now in this moment as well. Yeah.
Are they anywhere in your body?
Yeah. So typically that fear shows up, a bit of tension in the chest, solar plexus area. And the gratitude, I feel like more as like this radiating
big energy
hum that sort of comes out, like a little bit down my legs, a little bit across my arms, from the same space.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.
I get the impression that I'm gonna make a bit of an early judgment here.
Cool.
You know yourself pretty well from your share, from your check-in. So I appreciate the detail of that.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Getting to know myself.
Yeah, I think that's what we're all doing, isn't it? Just trying to get to know ourselves.
Yep, hopefully. In an ideal world.
Who the fuck are you? And if I share who the fuck am I right now?
Yeah. Physical, emotional, you can do the check-in too?
Yeah. Physically, before we jumped on here, I'd had a morning of stagnation. So a couple of coaching clients on Zoom, one in person, trying to get the tech side of this organized, which is not my strong point. And normally before a podcast, I like to just go and move, do something just to get out and clear the head. And I think it's like 34 degrees here today. It's like that heat before a big storm comes. I'm like, all right, boy, grab the dog and let's just go and do a little one. We'll go chuck in the river. And so my body feels good because it's moved, but I've still got that residual heat in there. I feel like I'm sweating in this t-shirt and probably didn't give myself enough time. So that's not a new pattern for me. trying to fit too much into a short time. So I'm kind of if I think about it physically, I actually physically feel good. Like I feel like I benefited from that movement. And I'm sitting in the air conditioner now, which feels good. And cognitively, mentally, pretty clear. I try not to come into these things with a place to get to. So I've kind of worked out that my only job here is just to be present. And that provides me with a fuck ton of relief and a little bit of clarity that I don't have to move this in any direction to get somewhere. So I'm enjoying that little bit of clarity and calm upstairs because it's like, let's just see what happens, Emotionally, I've got a little bit of frustration and a little bit of, I don't know whether it's embarrassment or criticism, like a little bit sharp. There's a few things happening in the last 24 hours, just around the house, things that have gone wrong. And it's not my strong point in life to be handy. And I notice when things go wrong, this little part of me gets activated of like, oh, you should be better at that, So when I was out walking the dog, I just checked in with myself and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a little bit of shooting on myself about the bits that I feel like I'm deficient in. Not big, not heavy, but just little, 2 out of 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
Low level, but enough there to pick up on.
Yeah. Enough there to notice that that's probably like an old story that pops up when something breaks or,
Can I fire a question back at you?
Yeah.
Where does that frustration show up in your body? If you can pinpoint it.
I don't know if I can, because it's quite a new awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually, the first thing I think about is my throat. So that'd be best guess without any great data behind it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's me. That's my existence. And I've got, the other thing is I've got my dog sitting here. He's just been for a swim. He's asleep. So I've got this like little co-regulation machine just hanging out with him.
Snoozing it out.
Yeah.
Good one.
His major contribution to most podcasts is snoring in the background. So,
have you ever picked it up on the mic?
Nah, I've got some pretty good software that can kill some background noise. Try and throw that in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to touch on something you mentioned in your check-in.
Mm-hmm.
That little bit of, you mentioned on one side of the emotional spectrum was a little bit of fear and scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to open the door to that a little bit more. If you're open to it, just to share a little bit about what's your experience of that, and just to share a little bit about it.
So I'll preface it with something that's arising like right now in this moment that I'm more than happy to acknowledge and work with, is the performative side that's like, hey, do I really want to be opening up like unresolved things within myself on a podcast that other people are going to watch, maybe potential clients or people in the community, that it's going to show me what a underdeveloped man that I am. And then I come back to, well, it's sort of the intention of this podcast and a large foundation of how I want to work with people, to not be putting on a performance and saying that I'm a guru, realized being that has all the answers for everyone. So those are sort of like another teeter-totter inside of me.
I appreciate you giving voice to that, because I think it's really pertinent. Yeah, it's real. And I actually think it happens a lot on here that people don't speak to. So I appreciate that it's there for you and you're happy to speak to it.
Yeah.
So what's the fear in there with that?
With which piece now? The original question or the new thing that I've just tapped into?
Always the new thing.
The new thing.
Yeah.
The new thing. So what was the question again?
What's the fear in there around sharing these parts of you?
It's I could probably throw it under the umbrella, the guise of the imposter syndrome. Yeah. So actually, no, this does tie into the initial piece. I'm now realizing. So there's this. God, my mind's starting to open up a lot of tabs. Yeah. Yeah, I might need you to tap me back in here.
Yeah, I just want to stay present. Like, what's going on right now?
So right now there's almost like a mind blank that's just popped up. It's like, you ask me one question about one thing, and it's like, there's this going on, and then that feeds back into the original thing that we're going to ask, and then it's like, and it's like, how do I even begin to put this map that my mind is creating into words to answer a concise question that you asked me?
And I feel like we might ask each other this question a fair bit today, but like, if that's the here part, the head part, the cognitive, what's happening physically now? So the universe has spoken, And at the point of that question, you froze, and I'm like, oh shit.
No, it was actually, I have a little switch that I can flick when I want to tap out.
You're the smartest podcast ever. Yeah, well, let's not get caught in the weeds. And but none of this has been caught in the weeds. I value the dance. Maybe we'll start with a bit of context. So
Yeah.
I think one thing I mentioned at the start is that our lives in the last kind of maybe 5 years have had quite a few parallels. And the parallels for those we've both done a big block of men's work, initially as a participant, but then as a facilitator. And then we've both gone down the path of studying in psychotherapy. So they're our kind of, our parallel worlds that we're both walking down separately, but in the same direction. So maybe we'll start back there.
I'll jump in and be like, just to reflect upon a comment that I made when we caught up the other day. I was like, I was looking across at you, and you acknowledge at some point, like, you see a bit of yourself in me, and I'm like, yeah, same. It's almost like I'm sitting across the table from a fella that's like me in X amount of years after I've become a bit more established in the therapy field, at least.
Yeah. Maybe I'll be in 2 years going, fucking hell, look at Jack.
Who knows?
Okay.
Check back in.
Tell me, going back to when you first started with men's work, what was happening in your world that made you make that choice? What was going on?
So the inroad into it comes through a man that you know very well, I'm sure, Lindsay. So I ended up at Lindsay's place back when I was living in Telebudgera with my friend Genevieve, who you also know very well.
Yes,
and
she's been on here.
He's been on. She's been on.
Yeah.
And Lindsay started riffing on men's work, and he wasn't directing at me. He was sort of just chatting to Genevieve about it. And when people are talking about things around me, I tend to tune in a little bit more because I don't feel like it's within the context of something new to me. It doesn't feel like it's being sold to me, so my ears were pricking up. I'm like, that sounds interesting. Like building different relationships with ourselves, building different relationships with people around us, families, lovers, etc. And I'm like, wow, like I feel like I do need some kind of big shift in my life.
What was happening for you at that time?
Back then, that would have been 2020. So I would have been a few years into my plumbing apprenticeship. Single in the Gold Coast, still really struggling to find my people. So I moved up from Victoria in 2016 and moved around a little bit, living with my family, my parents and my sisters. And I just hadn't found my people. To put it more concisely, what I would have been experiencing was a lot of loneliness. The type of I would have said kid at that point, type of kid that I was. I have always been like quite a open-minded, open-hearted person, but also quite a bit of like stay away from me if I'm sniffing bullshit. It's like a strong spine, but also lack a bit of confidence as well. And it's a bit of a weird contrast. So to hear that there was sort of like something tapping on my door.
One causes the other, isn't it?
Yeah. Well said. So yeah, heard Lindsay riffing on men's work. I'm like, that sounds appealing. So ended up seeing a Facebook post being shared about the upcoming workshop, which was, I don't know, July, August, September, something, 2020. And I'm like, I'm in. Yeah.
And then if we fast forward a couple of years, you're facilitating or co-facilitating your own circle. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Co-facilitating alongside Neil, my bro Neil.
Yep.
That started in 2020. The start of 2024, from memory.
And what was the catalyst for that to move from participant to facilitator?
There was a shift in the facilitators themselves. So Kane, do you know Kane?
Yep.
Kane Asselman? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He stepped out from facilitation, and then Logan, who was facilitating, was moving down to northern New South Wales. So there was sort of like a need for it.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I had stepped into the position of what we used to call the lieutenant's position.
Yep.
Before we decided to move away from more of the military languaging, and we just labeled it the emerging facilitator role.
Yep.
So I was in that. For some reason, I was recognised to be invited into that role and stepped into it. And then the need was there, and I stepped into co-facilitation with Neil once Logan had left.
Yep. And as an early facilitator, I say early, not young, what were the challenges for you back then when you first started as a facilitator in a men's circle?
Great question. Performance and the thought that I needed to deliver something that was not necessarily me at that point in time. Yeah, the first ever night that Neil and I facilitated, I remember we had this whole like structure planned out where the men were going to go inside and sit down, and Neil and I were going to sage each other outside and get our spirits together and trudge on in and start running the show. And it's like we got some feedback afterwards, and the men were like, yeah, it was a bit weird that we were all sitting in here without you guys for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, which can feel like a long time when no one really knows what's going on or happening.
Fully.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that thing of like performing what you think they wanted rather than who you really were.
Yep, bang on.
And is that a pattern of yours, or was it circumstantial?
A pattern for sure. A pattern that I've been really, really coming to meet in the last few months in particular.
Are you open to have some questions around that?
Let's go for it. Just watch out, I might flick my switch again.
What do you get out of being performative, Jack?
I get out of it, I think I try to get out of it. The strategy is to get to be perceived as someone valuable to have around or have in that role. It's almost to control the image of Jack in other people's minds.
Okay. So the perception of value and the view how other people see you.
Yep. Yep.
How else did you benefit from it?
How else did I benefit from it? Say there would be an attention piece in there as well. Like performing, being in the spotlight, but to make it a bit less like less of the, I guess I could say, shadowier stuff. There's also like I've got something to offer as well. So to get that out, one way of achieving that is to put it out through performance.
And where do you think you learnt this? Where did that pattern emerge from?
I would say, to my current understanding, relationship with my father.
Okay.
Through and through.
through and through. Sounds pretty definitive. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. At this point in time, it feels definitive.
So am I hearing in that, and let me know if I'm wrong, that there's a part of you that needed to perform to feel valuable for your dad?
Bang on, yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Fucking makes sense. I'm the same. Yep. Still unpicking that one.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a bit easier now my dad's passed.
Yeah.
It's a bit easier to work with when it's not in real time.
How does that play out? So if you were to contrast a parallel universe where your father was still alive, still with us, versus this parallel universe where he has passed, how do you think Rick would be showing up differently in the other one?
Well, I think the difference that jumps out for me is in some capacity, I'd still be caught in what I need to do to make my dad proud. And what's shifted now is like, what do I need to do to make myself proud? And there's still a part of me, the little 14-year-old, like I had some tears the other night, and it was Friday night after a really good, really strong week in work, in business. And that was our joining point. Our lane that we could openly discuss was about business. So if I'd had a good week in my business, in whatever business I was in, I'd often call Dad on the Friday night and have a chat.
Yeah.
So I just noticed there's still this yearning for me to, the younger me, to still want to make him proud and give him the good news so I can feel his, validation or acceptance or, whatever. And so there was some sadness a couple of weeks ago. It was like Friday night, like, 3 years ago, I would have called Dad. So, I think it's that difference between making him proud and making me proud.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear the sadness there. I hear the grief.
Yeah, I wish my dad was still here. I want to have those conversations. That younger part of me still wants a pat on the head.
Was there any? Got another question. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Within those tears, was there any sense of? In those tears, was there any sense of, or in that process, any sense of maybe pride or recognition that there has been a bit of a shift towards that self-directed sense of worth or achievement?
Yeah, I don't think in the moment I was just fucking sad.
Yeah.
And I think as I get older, I'm getting better at allowing myself to just be with whatever's there and not rush it away. So it was more on reflection that there was this is different to how it used to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know how we swung on to me. Let's get back to you. You're the fucking get.
Therapist talking to a therapist. Yep.
So if we come back to you, younger you, the performative you, facilitating men's circles, what were the consequences either for you or for the others around your performative part showing up?
So are we talking now in context of circle?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what was the knock-on effect of the performative Jack showing up instead of the authentic Jack?
Yeah, well, that actually leads to a very recent development in the men's workspace for myself. So what it ended up putting me into was a state of burnout and a bit of bitterness, because it's like that performative part was, it kicks in when I guess when I'm under more stress, it starts to kick in. It's like push more, push harder, push further, that kind of
Yep.
performance. So yeah, fatigue, burnout, bitterness, and it's like that part is screaming at more so the people around me, like putting it outwards, like, why won't you just listen to me, or why won't you just like look at everything that I'm putting in here? Like, why can't you, do something with that, or hear it clearer, or and because I don't throw that outwards,
It was all
internally,
here.
like in my mind, I throw it outwards.
Yeah.
It circulates in my system. Yep.
And
then I could say, like, a result of that was that there were other influences in my life causing that sort of system in me, but I ended up with a psoriasis flare up for the first time in my life last year. Yep. So heat in the body,
So
anger.
what does that represent to you on the literal level, the physical level?
What does it represent? Can you ask me that in another way?
So as the psoriasis shows up, what's the meaning that you give to that?
The meaning that I give to that, it's a sign of stagnant emotions, stagnant energy in the body that hasn't had a useful or skillful outlet. And so it expresses itself in a way that it can, because it needs to be moved. Otherwise, things are going to get really unwell.
Yep.
So it shows up as a teacher.
Yep. And then what?
Then I recognized it. So with a little bit of external help as well, the beautiful local lady Javiera, who runs the local Temescal sweat lodge. And she looks at me, she's like, "Can I touch your belly?" And she touched my belly. I'm like, yeah. She's like, anger. I'm like, okay. And a few weeks later, I'm talking to the bros. I'm like, from Circle, I'm like, hey guys, like the facilitators, emerging facilitators, co-facilitators. I'm like, hey, do you reckon you could put together a rage release ceremony for me? Rage release, facilitated rage release. And they're like, yeah, of course. Did that. And within 2-3 weeks, my skin started to clear up quite significantly.
Yeah, right.
So went through that process, raged out, cried many tears. And yeah, I mean, could call it coincidence, but, I hear about this stuff in literature. Like, we look at Gabor Mate's work or any other experts in that sort of field, link between the emotional body and physical body, and it's there. And I've experienced it firsthand.
And what that leads me to is like, what's the daily sustainable version of that?
Yeah.
Like, if we have this big build up and then we go and do a big rage release, if that's the intense version, what's the daily, or what's the weekly, or what's the sustainable version that is available to us, to you?
Daily sustainable version looks like being discerning about where I'm putting effort and energy. Recognizing it's an ongoing process, but how it's been looking is through reflective work, whether with a therapist or when I was in Circle, or with people that can speak this sort of lingo, such as yourself, that I'm more regularly around. I begin to recognize, like, oh yeah, this is the sort of that part is coming up, that performer perhaps. And I can start to map, I know how that feels in my body, so maybe I'm stuck in that right now. How am I doing that? Can I sit and be with this part rather than letting it run the show? And through that awareness, being able to again, use that discernment to choose, where am I putting my energy? Am I performing here? Am I running some sort of unconscious contract with this person or situation where I'm going to give way more than what's actually agreed upon that I'm going to receive?
Yep. I love that. And my devil's advocate goes straight to, that's fucking hard to do. You know?
Yeah.
So where are you at in the, can I catch this? You know, and what are the challenges for you in that?
Where am I at in the, can I catch this?
And I just while you're thinking about that, like it's one thing to have an awareness. It's another thing to work with it in real time. Like it's quite the muscle that gets developed.
Yep.
Yeah. So and both are important, you know. So where are you at on that spectrum, on that journey of like, yeah, I can see it, and now what? And like,
So one response that's coming to my mind is, this will very likely be like a lifetime practice for me, like with this particular part of myself as well, the performer. Like I, from what I've heard in people that have been, you know, tapping into this kind of work, if we were to call it that, for 50 plus years, so they still say, yeah, I still have my cranky 8-year-old pop up and try and run the show a bit.
Yeah.
So what acknowledging that has done for me is to put a bit of the self-judgment fire out when it does come up and run the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you know, this sort of diverting away from your question, but I do want to say that that performer has also offered me a lot of gifts in my life that I don't want to shun or say everything you do is wrong.
Yeah.
When it shows up, you know, we could, you know, start tapping into PH360 talk. It's that performer. It's an endurance performer. You know, it helps me get through some pretty tough things, but it's a double-edged sword as well. So where I'm at in the process is like, yeah, accepting that part of myself.
Yep.
Not necessarily battling it. That just feels like another kind of dysfunctional thing. And also gently guiding myself when I do catch it into more, I would say, I've started using language to more skillful behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. Makes me smile because like you've kind of just walked through the framework we did for our reframe workshop that we ran on last weekend, because essentially what we did there was we got 12 people together and we did a little bit of work on what patterns are showing up in our life, which one is the juiciest that we want to work on. And these patterns were not the things we do when things are going well. It's the opposite of that. It's the things we do when we're challenged or overwhelmed or in conflict or that sort of stuff. And so we were all individually working on a pattern, and we went through like this frame of what do you get from it? What's the knock-on effect? What's the origin and the stories that are associated with it? What are the fears underneath it? And then the last one was like, what are the superpowers that you get from this? And it was so fucking cool to see people realize the magic that is in their pattern or adaptation or in their heart that's already strong, you know? And I think that's part of the magic of this getting to know yourself work. It's like, not only do you get to become a little bit friendlier with the shitty parts, you can like turn up the fucking strengths, you know? Like this for you, what I hear is this performative part of me has got me to some fucking amazing places and some amazing situations.
It has. It has. Like, it has been running a lot of the show of my life. That's probably how I ended up facilitating. It's probably how I ended up buying my property a couple of years ago. How I ended up, running businesses and blah 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 blah. Like, again, double-edged sword. But yeah, there's a bit of gratitude that I can offer it.
So what's the shadowy part of this for you then? What's the other side of the sword?
So it's the it's the burnout. It's the burnout. To put it simply, burnout and bitterness. Yeah.
What a fucking combo.
Yep. Yep.
It's so true.
Because they contrast.
Yeah.
It's like burnout. It's like, I don't have the energy to do this, but something inside of me has like excess energy that wants to propel me forward.
Yeah. And I keep thinking about this word alignment, and sometimes that can make people twitch a little bit, but it feels like this performative part of you is a little bit out of alignment of who you really are. Like, it is a part of you, and it's not all of you. So there's like this, it can potentially skew if you're out of alignment, and then the relationships that you're forming with the Men in Circle or any others are like built on that slight misalignment.
Yes.
And I think that's where the resentment can come in.
Yeah, so well said. Yeah. It's like
relationships. Does that feel true for you?
Yeah, relationships getting built on unsustainable foundations.
Yeah. So what the fuck do we do about that?
Catch it, recognize it, choose differently, let it run the show, have it ruin everything, burn us out, dust ourselves off, chat to the therapist, have a podcast with Rick, talk about it more.
It's so funny our natural, a lot of the time, when I say ours, I'm going to say mine, natural desire is to be like, and how do I fix it? It's like, I've got this fucking awareness, and I've got this pattern, and now what? What do I do with it?
Yep.
And I love that part of me because it's the searcher, it's the learner, it's the the part of me that has some real strengths, and that little fucker often is my bypass.
Yep.
It's the bypass from the feeling of what's actually going on to be like, oh, let's just fucking work out how to fix it and not worry about that other stuff. Future, and not present.
And isn't it so interesting how that part, and correct me if I'm wrong, sounds like it's driven you, maybe a bit of like self-judgment, self-resent, but that same drive has likely put you into the position of, hey, like, let's really look at this and let's go study therapy and let's get all these trainings under my belt. And it's almost like looped back around on itself. And it's like, hang on, this, like, I'm not actually here to destroy this part of myself. I need to stop destroying this part of myself. But then that part doesn't get destroyed, which
I need to fucking love on this part.
Yeah. Yep.
Instead of hating on it.
Yep.
Because I think you're really touching on what I think is the magic of some of this work. And it's the realization that I'm fucking fine as I am. And that the desire to be different is coming from a place of lack of worth. And when my worth builds, I can just be fucking me. I don't feel like I need to justify myself by being better, the next thing, like, that used to be it. And then the funny thing that's spun in the last couple of years for me is like, noticing that I used to chase that stuff in order to be better because I didn't feel like I was enough as I was.
Mm-hmm.
And just in the last couple of years, and I think it's because of the fact that we have to do a shitload of therapy in our study, for the first time in my life, really acknowledging that I'm enough as I am.
Mm.
You know, I'm like, fuck, now
Yep.
what? What
Yep.
does that mean?
Yep.
And I'm not delusional that, you know, I'll have glimpses of that and I'll have more of it than I used to, but I'm not delusional that that's a click of the fingers thing and I'm set for life.
Mm-hmm.
So like you
Mm-hmm.
said before, it's like it's a lifetime of work, because that's probably my thing, is just that, you know, am I enough? Is probably
Mm-hmm.
my big work that's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the headline act for me.
Yeah.
But
Likewise, man.
yeah. And it was really no, not funny. I know it's not funny because it's real, but
Mm-hmm.
both in our reframe workshop and in our circle on Monday night, but when we asked a few questions to get underneath the fears and the stories, everyone had different fears, everyone had different patterns, everyone had different stories, but nearly all of them came down to the core, what's the word? Quest to prove that they were enough.
Yep.
You know, to disprove that I'm not enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's funny because I feel a bit apprehensive talking about it, because it's not light and it's a really serious core relational theme,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be seen as like a little bit negative and a little bit, you know, talking down, but I think there's so many, it's the core of so many of our behaviors, you know, so many of my behaviors, especially the older ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just seeing it more and more in our group. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely one worth a conversation.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you answered my question I was going to throw out there. Was there a theme amongst the bros, amongst the men? And yeah, the question, am I enough? Or the sentiment, I'm not enough.
Yeah. A lot of the fears that popped up on Monday night in Circle were fears of not being enough in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of the patterns that showed up the day before in Reframe were in to try and prove that they were enough, so they'd fit in and they belong.
Mm. Yep.
They'd be accepted and loved, you know?
Yep. Yep. Did you see that playing out within the microcosm of the workshop itself?
That was, it wasn't on my notes.
Uh-huh.
It just, there was one point when on the Sunday workshop when we were just doing some, what's the story underneath here? So if this is the pattern and this is the origin, what's the story I tell myself? And everyone had a different story. And then I just asked the question, if that story is true, what do you make that mean about you?
Mm.
And the universal answer was, I'm not enough.
Yep.
And we had 12 people in the room. And they all had different patterns and they all had different stories. But underneath it was this one core belief
Mm-hmm.
that we're all trying to fucking disprove.
What's the root of that? Have you tried tracing it back? What's the root of that?
Oh, dude,
I would
I think we
assume
need
it's
a
a
whole
cultural
podcast
thing.
series.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe even, I think it's quite simple in that good behavior got us a pat on the head,
Mm-hmm.
and bad behavior didn't. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they had consequences. So we learnt what we had to do to fit in, to get love. And whether that was at home or whether that was at school or that was at footy or, you know, with your friends, that same pattern of a conditional action gets a certain response. We
Yep.
learned how to be loved. We learned how to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
No. But the unfortunate, I'm just playing around with this in real time. I don't really have any definitive thing. Like, the real answer to the question is I don't know, but I'm happy to talk option.
Mm-hmm.
The part that we want to fit in and belong and be loved is trying to disprove this feeling that I'm not enough. No. And I think there's a role in self-validation or self-love,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a role in external validation, and that both of those two things contribute to the feeling of enoughness.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we need some fucking evidence in the world that there's feedback that we are valuable.
Yep.
And sometimes we need to rely on ourselves to prove that we are valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah,
Well
it's
said.
a real. I'm super passionate about the exploration of that. I don't really have any answers, but I have a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. What's popping up for you as I rabbit on?
It's an extension of your riff there that I couldn't find a single disagreement in my own perception of it. And the extension is more of a question, maybe, of it's like, yeah, the good or bad, the values that our behavior was judged upon when we were youngins, in those formative years. So a lot of those, in my judgment, a lot of those values and behaviors were likely built upon, we brought up that idea of misalignment earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's also misalignment within family systems, communities, overall national culture.
Yeah, cultural expectations. Yeah.
And we get made good or bad in our own internal stories based upon those values.
Yep.
And then when we grow up and start to be able to take on our own agency in the world, that's when these sort of questions can start coming up of, hang on, if I don't need to base my, I'll put both of us in the same bucket for a minute. If I don't have to use my projected image of myself in my father's mind to validate my own worthiness, like where do I draw those values from?
Good question.
And where did his values come from? And where did blah 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 blah, and the list goes on. The list goes on.
So I think what's coming up for me and what came up on Sunday was it's kind of honoring the complexity of being human. It's not fucking straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
There are many forces pulling us in different directions that we had no say over. And I think it's important to honor the complexity of that. And for me, what it comes back to is can I be kind to myself? And to me, that kindness, which could be another word for love, comes through the acceptance of our parts. So can I not fucking hate on the bits that I don't like? Can I just accept them, but not, And then what's the downstream effect if I'm kinder on myself? How does that impact my world? Because I think that's got the potential to be a little bit more simple, where we can get lost in the maze of the map. It's like, oh, how do I fucking just be a bit kinder? How do I love on myself rather than rejecting myself?
And what can emerge from the spaciousness, even if it's just like 1 or 2% more spaciousness, what might emerge from what gets opened up in that kindness?
And it might just be a smile,
Mm-hmm.
Might be a hug. Might just be a moment. But I think I just had a conversation in a session before we got on here. It's like the importance of paying attention to those moments because they're evidence
Mm-hmm.
that in that moment you are everything you need. You are enough.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can build that evidence and if we can pay attention to that evidence, who fucking knows what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Who
Mm-hmm.
knows what eyes we look through, And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we're getting a bit existential, but I also think it's got the potential to be very practical as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's like every time we get to acknowledge that moment of which you were just speaking, that moment of self-kindness, self-acceptance, it's just like one rep.
Yeah.
And the more that we get to do, it's just training a muscle. And those are the neurons are starting to wire together and get written into the nervous system and yada, 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 that ends up becoming a stronger behavior. It's something that might eventually edge into being chosen over the top of maybe it's self-flagellation or flagellance, flagellating, not flatulating, farting on myself.
Farting on you.
That works too. That works too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And I'm just thinking about like that question of like, and then what does it look like? Like if we actually think in some capacity more than we do now that we feel, not think, sorry. If we feel that we're worthy as we are more than we used to, like what's the potential there? How does that impact our day to day? How does it impact our relationship with self, with other, how we show up, how disciplined we are, like what all the stuff, I think it comes back to because I fucking matter. A lot of that stuff. And if we can build the because I fucking matter muscle, who knows? That shit excites me.
What do you think that like the 3D material, how do you think that I matter muscle being exercised would look like? That's what I'm trying to say. 3D realm, looking in let's say a household.
Yeah.
One person walks in that's just feeling a bit more strong in that I fucking matter.
It means that they might have a boundary or they might have a discipline of, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to go for a walk because I matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not be as explicitly stated as that, but it's potentially a little bit more of putting what I want or what I need before what I think everyone else needs. And there's a balance. Like I'm not saying swing to selfishness, but it's eating good food. Why? Because I matter. It's getting to like all the little things that you need to be more resourced. I think they're examples of I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I think it's practical and real. Taking the dog for a walk before this, I knew that's what I needed. That's an expression of I'm enough.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which then
it can be that simple.
Likely reinforces the story of I'm enough because he's evidence. Which then it's just another rep. It gets easier.
Yeah. And the evidence thing, unfortunately, works both ways. So when we get this little bit of evidence of I'm enough, our system also works on the evidence that proves the theory that I'm not enough. So we have to be careful of which dog we feed.
Yep.
But that's where, you use the word discernment before, and that's kind of where the discernment comes in, And I think this is the value of mapping our patterns and working with a therapist and having these conversations is to get to know the territory better. So when that part of you shows up, you can meet it with a little bit more kindness. that old unworthy part shows up instead of falling down the shamey bit. It's like, oh, you're here again. Cool. Thanks. So we're not going to go down the slide today. We're just going to hang here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
And that's another rep in a different direction, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you might have seen it. I put up a reel the other day, a little, could call it poetry, more of a spoken piece on almost what we're talking about. It's like those moments where I catch the thing. Let's go back to the performer as an example. I catch it, feel that like tension in my chest. It's like, hey, instead of, now that I realize it, it's now I kind of know what it is. Instead of beating myself up and saying, hey, there's that thing. Let's do the thing to get rid of it. It's like, hey, what would it be to actually really accept it in this moment? What if I could trust this thing that it's going to do what it needs to do without me feeding it with the stories in my mind, without feeding the beast? What's the process that it's going to carry out? Can I trust it? Can I trust it like a little crying child without trying to pacify it or tell it to shut up? It's crying because it's moving the energy out of itself, or doing whatever that process is, and it's actually good, and it's doing what it needs to, doing what it's built to do.
Can I share something that I've realized recently? Just in around languaging for me personally around this topic. The language for me that I use is that makes sense. So if I know the pattern, I know the circumstances where the pattern appears, and then the pattern shows up, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I'm tired, I'm in conflict, I'm over whatever the field conditions are, and then the pattern shows up, I'm like, oh, that makes complete sense that I want to withdraw. Cool. And for me, that's my starting point now, rather than the fucking idiot, why are you back here?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it makes sense that this is what I feel right now. And that's been really powerful for me.
How did that emerge, that particular languaging? How did that emerge?
It's just popped in organically is the answer. I've said this on the podcast before, but I've had a history of depression, and it popped up a little bit October last year, in the whole scheme of things, a relatively mild case, but still enough to be like, oh, fuck. And kind of it lasted a couple of days. In the middle of it, I just kind of went, oh, this makes sense. And it was just that. It was as simple as that. And then it softened. Like, fuck. And not that I need to pull that line out, because I have to actually feel it.
Yep.
It has to make sense. Like, I'm not just going to use it as a throwaway line just to try and, bypass it.
Yeah, pacify.
But at that time, for everything that was going on and what was happening in my world, it did make sense that my system wanted to go inward and feel depressed and flat. I'm sad.
Can I ask you a question on that one?
Yep.
Started running out of time now, going over time, but it's a good one, I think.
I'll be the fucking judge of
that. Good man.
Maybe, I don't know.
So, where were we? The noticing of the depression. Was there, at one point in time, a story or a lesson that you had learned that it's not okay to be down, it's not okay to be low energy, 100%. It's not okay to be... Yeah.
Can confirm that was very much the case. Depression means I'm broken.
Yeah.
And that's why it felt so amazing.
That kind of makes sense to someone that would, make. I don't know where I was going with that, but kind of makes sense. But is that the whole picture? And what does make more sense? What does make more sense?
Yeah, and some listeners to the podcast will kind of know a bit of my backstory, but I grew up with epilepsy, and with the medication I was on and some of the things that happened, depression was a part of my life growing up in various times, but not consistently. So I had this story that when this shows up, it's a sign that I'm broken. I'm not normal, And it's taken me a fair bit of time to unpick that story and how I built that, and what does the opposite look like? And the opposite looks like feeling depressed and then organically going, oh no, this makes sense. And that's what we talked about at the start of, like, signposting the evidence. That's fucking different to how it used to be. Let's go.
Signposting the evidence. Signposting the evidence. I don't remember hearing that particular phrase earlier. Can you?
It might have been 7 other conversations I had today.
I sense what you're getting at with it.
Yeah, it's just that can we pay attention to the growth points, Can we signpost the evidence that we are growing, that we are changing, that we are not the same as we used to be? Because I think the signposts are as important, if not more important, than the actual growth itself.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like we could talk for 7 hours. The sign of a good podcast for me, of being in it, is like, fuck, it's an hour and 7 minutes gone and I didn't even realize.
Yep.
So I appreciate the dance and being in it with you. So thank you. But we're not ending just yet. If we come out of the present and move into the future, what's got an energy of excitement about the future for you?
So every now and then I have this flash insight. It happens maybe once every 6 months when I get down in the dumps a bit, and it's like, hang on. Something amazing, like something life-changing, ridiculously beautiful might happen tomorrow, next week, this afternoon. Actually, I don't have any control over. It's like the default mode network story that I can sort of get stuck in is the world's fucked, system's broken, we're all going to hell. It's just doom and gloom. Then I'm like, hang on, I don't actually know that. So to answer your question more directly, there's a little bit of excitement that I have about the unknown, the mystery of it all. Now, to give some more concrete things that I am excited about in my life, coming up. I'm getting marked up, tattooed up for the first time ever, as I share with you. That's happening this weekend, if all goes ahead. Nice. I'm sure it will. Got my third vision quest popping up in April.
Yep.
And then, fingers crossed, I've been chatting to my bro / mentor / elder, who has brought the sort of lineage that I work with for the vision quest to Australia. I might be heading over to the States to attend and support and visit the Sundance, a big ceremony with the Indigenous folk over there in July, August, something like that. So those are some waypoints.
Whole another podcast about what you get from a vision quest and everything that's behind that. And just for those that haven't heard of the term before, it's essentially 4 days on the land, solo water fasting. Yeah.
Dry fasting with this.
Dry fasting. Yep. And just you and your psyche hanging out.
Watching what melts into What parts of self are starting to melt into awareness?
Becoming really fucking good friends with the ants and the flies. And
Yeah, mosquitoes.
I remember
the
my
sun.
vision quest was like, I had so many friends. And they were just all around me all the time. It was awesome. There's a whole new appreciation for the tiny little things that are activating.
Yep.
I'd also want to mention that you are in the process of building your psychotherapy practice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
After hearing this amazing fucking podcast and how insightful you are, how would someone get in touch with you to continue doing some of this work?
Got my Instagram fired up. You can find me on Jack Chivers Therapy on Instagram.
I'll put a
Tangly
link to
Business working that one, but that's a place that has links. My website got launched recently. jackchiverstherapy.com.au. Again, yeah, links.
Yep.
I'm available to book discovery calls so we can have a yarn about how we could work together. Available for booking straight off the bat. And that's pretty much the extent of my interpersonal work right now is psychotherapy.
Yeah, perfect. And we didn't even touch on any of that. We kind of we went down a different path. But
Yep.
The training psychotherapist in me sees the new psychotherapist in you, and I wish you all the best, bro.
Yeah, likewise, Rick. Thanks for that recognition.
Thank you for today. It's been real. Let's just fucking do it again.
Yeah. Yep. Tap into some more of those juicy topics.
Yeah. All right, bro. Have a good day.
Likewise, man.